Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Cuivre River Electric's 82nd annual meeting. If you would, please stand and join the board in stating the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. My name is Diane Solly, and I'm president of the Cooperative Board of Directors. It's my honor and privilege to be here today serving in this capacity, and I want to thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate it. I've been notified that a quorum of members has been established, and I now declare the meeting open for all business that may be presented today. All right, the first item on the agenda is the proof of mailing of the annual meeting notice, which will be presented by our Secretary Treasurer, Ted House. Ted?
Thank you, Diane. Good afternoon, everybody. It is my duty as the Secretary of the Board of Directors of Cuivre River Electric Cooperative, pursuant to the bylaws of the cooperative and the laws of the state of Missouri, to indicate that I have in my possession Form 3541 from the United States Postal Service, indicating that notice of the 2024 annual meeting of Cuivre River Electric Cooperative was mailed to each of the members of the cooperative pursuant to law. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. All right. At this time, I would like to introduce your cooperative's current board of directors by county and district. The directors from Lincoln County are District 1, Mike Cherry, if you'd like to stand. District 2, Jeff Geisendorfer. District 3, Mick Burkemper. And from Pike County, Walt Gregory. Very good. The directors from St. Charles County are District 1, Mark Schulte. District 2, myself, Diane Solly. District 3, Dale Anderson. District 4, Karen Barra. District 5, Ted House. Very good. Do I have the people up on the screen or? Okay, got it. And the directors from Warren County, District 1, Dan Elliott. District 2, Steve Coffey. And District 3, Phil Dunk. Thank you all very much. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank outgoing director Mick Burkemper for your many years of dedicated service to Cuivre River. We will miss you, your insights, both serious and humorous, and your common sense approach to addressing governance responsibilities of the cooperative. So thank you very much, Mick. At this time, I'd like Courtney Fletcher, our attending attorney, to step up to the podium to conduct a very important part of our meeting, the election of your board of directors. Courtney?
Good afternoon. The following slate of candidates have been approved. For Warren County District 2, Steve Coffey and Caleb Logsdon. For St. Charles District 1, Mark Schulte and Dennis J. Sargent Jr. For Lincoln County District 3, John Waddell, Kim Daniger, Mike Dicken. And for St. Charles District 3, Dale Anderson, Tamika J. Cole, Timothy Welker, Michael DeWitt, Brad White, and Nick Ajos. And at this time, if there are any ballots that have not been cast, please do so now. Given that it appears that there are no ballots to be cast, I would declare that balloting is closed. Thank you.
Okay, next up is the approval of the 2023 annual meeting minutes. A copy was printed on the website and in your handout today. Are there any corrections or additions to be made? If not, do I have a motion?
Make motion we accept it as presented.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the 2023 annual meeting minutes as presented. All in favor, vote by saying yes. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. This brings us to the presentation of the financial report. A copy of the audited financial report was posted on the website and is printed in your handout, and the annual report was also included in the August issue of the Rural Missouri, which was mailed to you. Are there any questions or corrections to be made? Is there a motion? All right. Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second to accept and approve the financial report from 2023 as presented. All in favor, vote by saying yes. Any opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call on Doug Tracy to give his CEO President's remarks.
Thank you, Diane, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out for our board of directors, our board candidates. Thank you all for coming, for our nominating committee, for staff that is here, and for the members that are here. We appreciate you coming out and attending the meeting today. We finally got a nice day in August. It's not 108 degrees like it has been sometimes on this day, so we got a good day for you all to come out. And for those of you that are watching on live stream, we also appreciate you participating in this meeting today. So one of the things that I've done since I've been CEO to start this meeting off that I just want to continue is to first of all thank our veterans that have served our country. So if you served and you're a veteran of the United States Armed Forces, would you stand up just so we can recognize you and thank you for your service? Thank you all very much for all that you've done for us. Appreciate it. Thank you all. And those of you that are home, thank you for your service as well. The other thing I would like to recognize are those of you that are first responders or work in the healthcare industry. We have come to rely on you more and more these last few years, and so we just appreciate all that you do for us. So if you are in healthcare or if you're a first responder of any type, would you stand and let us recognize you? And those of you at home too, thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you all for all that you do. I'd also like to thank our nominating committee who just left to oversee our election, so they're not going to be here for you to recognize, but I want to go ahead and thank them by name. They are off conducting our official election results right now. So from Lincoln County, we had Carrie Klump and Linda Whalen. From St. Charles County, we had Wendell Massman and Doug Steinmeier. And from Warren County, Gary Carter and Paul Hegeman. So I'd just like to thank them for all that they have done. They put a lot of effort into choosing the candidates for us and overseeing the election. So let's thank them and the work that they've done for us. And then I'm going to pile on what Diane said, and Mick, I'm going to embarrass you one more time. Our director, Mick Burkemper, from Lincoln County District 3, who has chosen to step down off the board as of this time. I just want to thank you personally for all that you've done for the cooperative throughout all of your years, and I want to thank you as a collective membership for your leadership, your dedication, all that you've meant to this cooperative for the years that you've served us. We're going to miss you, and we thank you so much and wish you nothing but the best, good health, and good luck from now on. So thank you very much, Mick. All right, so I've thanked all of them, and I'd like to thank the members, both here and online that are watching today. Thank you for another year of being members of our cooperative. We continue to grow. I say this every year, and I think I'm going to continue to say this for quite a while, but this year we're looking at adding another 1,500 meters to our totals. So before this year is out, I'm going to go ahead and call it, we're going to hit 75,000 meters this year, which makes us not only the largest in the state of Missouri, but we are also going to be in about the top 55 to 60 in the country with that many meters. So we're very proud of that and looking forward to more growth as the years continue. So as we get going, I want to start off with our mission statement. I kind of do this every year just to kind of show what we follow, what guides us as a cooperative. Cuivre River Electric Cooperative will be a progressive leader in the energy industry, empowering employees to serve our members using innovative energy solutions while safely providing reliable service at the lowest possible cost. So our number one priority on everything that we do is safety. That is always out there, not only for our employees, but for the public. We concentrate on that. That is always going to be priority number one. What I want to talk about this afternoon is the other two when we're talking about reliable service and the lowest possible cost. And I want you to kind of see this, and I want you to remember this as we're kind of going through my presentation today. We kind of view these two as a scale that we try to keep balanced. If we concentrate too much on either one of these things, it can get tilted, and then that's when some problems can occur. So while we like to keep the cost as low as possible, sometimes those costs have to go up some so we can keep reliability where that belongs. So those of you that are members, you know that this past year your rates went up. We had a rate increase of about 2.5%. It wasn't too much, but it was enough, and you noticed that. And I would love to say that that's the end of it. We're not going to have any more rate increases. That's all. We're going to freeze them there for a while. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We are in a period of rate pressure as we continue on. And if I were you, I would be asking the question, well, why is that? So I want to talk a little bit today about why we're seeing the rate pressures and what we're trying to do about it. So first of all, one thing just on our distribution system at Cuivre is inflation. If you've been to the grocery store or you've been to try to buy a car or clothes or anything right now, you understand that inflation is taking a bite out of a lot of the prices. It's gone up almost 20% in the last 3.5 years, and that has impacted us personally, as you all know. It's also impacted Cuivre River. I just mentioned we're going to add 1,500 meters this year. We added 2,000 meters last year. The price of transformers, wire, vehicles, regulators, cable, all of that has gone up exponentially. Some of it we're spending about 4 to 5 times what we spent just 4 years ago. So that's part of it, of what we're facing from a cost pressure standpoint. Just to kind of give you an idea, our material inventory 4 years ago was around the $3 million mark. We are up to $17 million right now. So we have more than gone up 5 times just on our inventory, and a lot of that is the increased cost that we've faced from inflation. So another pressure that we're facing, and I mentioned this at last year's annual meeting, is our work plan. And so keep in mind, again, that scale of reliability and low cost. If we focus too much on low cost, we can let that reliability slide, and that's not what we want to do. So to do that, with the growth and with some of it is just that there's old infrastructure that's out there that needs to be replaced. The system constantly needs to be maintained. So the work plan that we have is a $62 million work plan that we're going to spread over several years, but we've already spent about $7 million on upgrades that have impacted our system. And you can see it's every part. It's Lincoln County, it's St. Charles County, it's Warren, and it's Pike. So we're not concentrating on any certain area, but we have to keep the system maintained. We have to do some upgrades in certain areas to keep that reliability that you have come to expect and deserve. So those are a couple that have impacted us just on our distribution system here at Cuivre River. But quite honestly, that's the little part that we're facing now. We can kind of absorb some of that, and we have absorbed quite a bit of that over the past few years. We haven't passed on all of those increases to the members. But now we're going to get into some that are going to be larger impacts to us, and one of them has to do with transmission. There are over 10,000 miles of transmission on the cooperative system through our generating company that have to be maintained and many times upgraded to handle the increased demand. And we're also adding transmission lines. All of that takes money and takes time. Another thing that is kind of pushing that a little bit is a lot of the renewables that are coming on for wind and solar generation that come on. Once that energy is generated, it has to get from point A to point B. And the way you do that is through transmission lines. So you have to build more to do that. So our transmission company, Central Electric Cooperative in Jefferson City, is on a multi-$100 million work plan. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on building additional transmission lines. When they build those transmission lines, the members of that transmission cooperative pay for that. And guess what? We're part of that transmission cooperative. So we're seeing some cost pressures from that to upgrade those additional transmission lines. Then we can talk about our generation company, Associated Electric, down in Springfield, Missouri. And this is where we start getting into actually generating the power. So we have set a peak here at Cuivre River each of the last 5 to 6 years. And what a peak is the all-time, when everybody needs electricity at the same time. We've set an all-time peak the last 5 years. So we're noticing this across the system. And it's not something that's happening that's unique just in Missouri. It's happening all over the country. On a typical day, like today, which is gorgeous, we're meeting the loads with no problem. We've got plenty of generation. The problem becomes that we're seeing is that when those extreme heat days and those extreme cold days, that's where it starts to get a little bit close on, do we have enough capacity to meet the demand? So one thing that Associated Electric is doing is they're going to build some more generation, so again, we can keep that reliability where it belongs. This is a rendering of the Ripley Energy Center that's going to be in Ripley, Oklahoma. It is hoping to break ground here in October. It's going to be a 420 megawatt simple cycle energy center that will run on natural gas and also have the ability to burn up to 50% hydrogen. And there's another one that's going to be just like it that they're hoping to break ground on in a few more months. It's going to be in western Missouri. So we're looking at adding 2 of these plants to help meet the load. Here's some of the specifics on it. Each one of those plants will be about 420 megawatts of additional capacity that will be put on to our system that we can utilize. So it's good to have that capacity, but I'll tell you one thing, these aren't cheap. They're not cheap to build. Each one of these is right around $500 million. When you start getting that many zeros, my mind starts to kind of have trouble comprehending all of that. But $500 million each, and then when you start putting the transmission lines on there to connect those, we're looking at around $1 billion and more that the cooperatives are going to need to pay for to get this generation onto the grid. So the demand for electricity continues to increase. And again, I mentioned we've been setting all-time peaks. The last 4 or 5 years we've seen that, and it's a trend that we are seeing all over. So why do we want to build these plants? Well, you've heard this term. I don't even like mentioning it, but we have to talk about it. It's rolling blackouts. You've heard this term. It's happened around the country a few times. We have not had to have any of those on our system, thankfully, but we don't want to have any of those on our system. So again, think back to the scale with low cost and reliability. So the costs are going to have to go up some to keep that reliability in balance. So with the demand increasing, we're seeing things like electric vehicles coming onto the system. We're seeing a lot more electric appliances. We're seeing data centers now that are starting to, and not just we, but all across the country, artificial intelligence, all of that is coming in, and we're seeing more and more demand for power around the country and also on our system. In the past, if we needed some more capacity and we were thinking we might be a little bit short, we could go out on the market and buy some from somewhere else and to kind of bridge that gap. The problem now is nationwide, that market is shrinking because there's plant closures that are happening, and then you've got the demand going up. So we have demand going up and we have supply going down, and that is a very difficult picture to put in when you're talking about reliability. So the decision that Associated, our generating company, has made is we don't want to have to rely on the market to keep your lights on. And if we go to the market and there's no power there, then your lights are going off. So the way to fix that is we build our own generation, then that way we can keep the power flowing to you. To show you kind of what's going on around the country, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, what we call it NERC, each year they will publish a reliability assessment for summer and for winter. This is their latest one that shows kind of different parts of the country and where the highest risk are. The red is the highest risk. You know what state is in the red? Missouri. Fortunately, Cuivre River is not part of the RTO that's being shown here, but it still can impact those. It could impact us with those around us when you have voltage issues and all the interconnecting that's going on. So this is a problem that's not only just specific for Cuivre River as we're looking for additional generation and capacity. It's happening all over the country, and something that all utilities are trying to find a way to combat this. So that's a lot of information to put out there right to start the to start my speech today. But again, this is happening around the country. The industry is changing with the demand that we're seeing that's being placed upon the electric grid. So every utility around the country is facing these same kind of challenges and the same opportunities if they can have the capacity that's built there. So now that I've depressed everyone in the room on how terrible the electric industry is right now, let me give you a little bit of good news to try to at least make you feel a little bit better about what's going on. Let's talk about where we are in Missouri and where we are as Cuivre River. So you can see here on this graph, this is from the Energy Institute information system, the top 10 highest states in the country for electricity. So these are the most expensive states in the country. Hawaii looks like a really beautiful place to live, but if you go in there, you might want to take a candle because it is very, very expensive to have electricity there. So you can see here, 44 cents into the 30s and the 20s. The U.S. average is 15.45. This is per kilowatt hour. That's the U.S. average. So those are the 10 highest. So if we go to the 10 lowest, you'll see Nebraska comes in at number 1. Missouri is number 4. We're tied for 4th in the country. We were 7th last year, so we've already gone up there a little bit. So some of the good news is we're cheaper in Missouri than most places around the country. When the average is 15.45, in Missouri we're at 10.82. We're doing well as far as keeping those costs down. You can go across the river into Illinois and pay a whole lot more than we're paying in Missouri. So we've got that going for us. And then you as Cuivre River members benefit even more than that. So when you compare the national average of 15.45 and the Missouri average at 10.82, at Cuivre River, we have a 2-tier rate. So for an average member using 1,300 kilowatt hours a month, which is what most of our residential averages are, it comes out to 8.73 cents. So we're 43.5% under the national average, and we're 19.4% under the Missouri average. And this is even after our latest rate increase that we had in April. So I'm trying to make you feel a little bit better about some of these costs that you see going up, and we're trying really, really hard to keep that lowest possible cost there in that scale that you had. I can promise you that at every decision that we're making, we keep this in mind because we know things are tough right now with inflation, and we're trying to keep those as low as we can, yet we also want to keep that reliability that you have to have. So now I'd like to tell you that your lights are never ever going to go off. I can't tell you that because of, there's weather, there's animals, there's car pole accidents, there's equipment failure. But to give you an idea of what we've done on the reliability side, for 2023, your average service availability index for 2023, meaning what's the percentage of time that your power was on, was 99.95%. So we're working really hard to make that 100. I don't think we're ever going to get to 100, but we're going to get as close as we can. We're trying really, really hard to keep that going. We also work hard to control what we can control. I just mentioned to you the increases that we're seeing from our power suppliers. Well, to give you an idea of what that does to our budget, we're a little bit different company than a lot. This dollar bill shows you the percentage that we pay for expenses. So 65% of our expenses are power cost. So when we end up getting a rate increase from our generating company or our transmission company, that's 65% of our cost. So that's obviously the bulk of it. We take another 12% to maintain the system, to keep everything rolling. We've got depreciation and interest, and then we've got admin in general, which is everything else it takes to run. So right out of the chute, 65% of it is what we give to our generation and transmission company. So the other 35% we call controllable expenses, and what we've been able to do as a cooperative through board management and employees, we do a very good job at watching what those costs are. And to give you an idea, for 2023, we were the best in Missouri at controlling those controllable expenses. We were the lowest, and we're in the top 8 in the country on watching those. So just trying to give you an idea of we are trying to control what we can and keep those, again, lowest possible cost, which is what our mission statement says that we need to do. So even with these challenges that we've faced with the increasing cost, we're a cooperative, and part of a cooperative is giving back margins to you, the membership. That's part of what we do. And just because all of a sudden we're getting an increased cost doesn't mean we stop being a co-op. So just a few weeks ago, you should have seen checks coming in your mail. It totaled $6.7 million over the entire system. And you can see here That since 1976, we're approaching the 140 million mark that we've given back, and just in the last 6 years, right around 40 million that has been given back to you, the members, as part of the capital credit program. So last but certainly not least, I would like to give a shout out to the employees. I know some of the employees are watching as this is happening here today. Can't say enough about the employee team that we have and how hard they work. I mentioned our average service availability percentage being 99.95. That's because of a great team of linemen that we have. And Brian, who's here with us, the leadership that he gives those guys, that they work so hard to keep that going. They all work not only hard on our system, but we get a lot of calls from other co-ops around the state. This is a picture from down on Boot Hill over Memorial Day weekend. We sent linemen down to help that co-op there. We've also helped up in northern Missouri and over in western Missouri to try to help them keep their power back on. Our linemen have a good reputation of being able to get a lot done fast. Just this past year, they took the first place, swept every category in our statewide lineman rodeo that competed against other linemen from other co-ops. So I'm pretty proud of that, I gotta tell you. It's kind of neat seeing that, bringing some hardware back, but we're really proud of the linemen and what they have done. And all of our employees in the office, our engineers, our building and grounds, all the way down, work very, very hard. They understand that we serve you, the members. These are some pictures of some things that our employees have done here in the past couple of years through our last year through our Cuivre Cares program, whether it's building beds for Bridges of Hope, diaper drives for local crisis nursery. Also, they educate schools. We go around to schools and talk about what linemen do, how to be safe around electricity. Also giving some training courses to MoDOT and some emergency responders. So we really have a lot of concern for the community. Of course, we have our Operation Roundup program that is now nearing $8 million, and that's from you all, the members, those pennies that add up to that. And we have a trust board that takes care of that and gives back to organizations and to individuals. So really, really proud of the employees and want to thank them for all the hard work that they do each and every day to serve you, the members. So as I wrap up, I wanted to give you one of my favorite quotes. I've kind of told you about we've got some pressures coming, we've got some challenges coming. But one of my favorite quotes is, we don't grow when things are easy, we grow when we face challenges. So we've got some of those coming, but I tell you what, I'm confident in the board, I'm confident in our management team, and I'm confident in our employees that we're going to meet these. We're going to work hard for you to keep these costs down as much as we can, and we're also going to work hard to keep your lights on. So I just cannot say enough of how much I appreciate you, the membership, for allowing us to serve you. We thank you for what you've done to help us be the cooperative that we are, and we look forward to serving you more in the next coming year. So on behalf of the Board of Directors and employees of Cuivre River Electric Cooperative, thank you for coming out today.
The next item on the agenda is the board president's report. My remarks are going to be short this year because Doug has given us enough to think about. So each year my comments have been from a member's perspective, because even though we're on the board, we're members too. So all of the decisions that we make keep all of us in mind. We don't need a background in the electric industry. We just need to have good common sense and a desire to make the best decisions possible with the available resources and information. And as you can tell from Doug's report, he is a wealth of knowledge, information, and resources for us, and he presents us with everything available at board meetings. So we really do feel like when we talk about everything that we're making decisions as best we can on the information we have at the time. Doug complimented the Cuivre River employees, and the board agrees they are outstanding. However, a co-op could not run without an outstanding leader and CEO, and that is Doug Tracy. As a board, he is the only employee that we oversee, and we believe he is the right leader at the right time for Cuivre River. He embodies the mission statement in all he does as a CEO, so it was apropos that that would be how he would start his remarks today, is with the mission statement. His vision for creating a 21st century culture at the co-op has prepared us for the future. The electric industry is evolving very quickly, and he is skilled at anticipating and planning for those changes and how they affect our cooperative. He's up to date and has access to information and forecasts. He diligently immerses himself into keeping Cuivre financially and systematically sound. He has a great rapport with his staff, and he's well respected in the local community. And he's also known and respected throughout the country for his innovative leadership. And our cooperative, as he mentioned, is often contacted as a resource for best practices and ways of doing innovative things that they can apply to their own cooperative. So thank you, Doug, for all you do to keep our cooperative running smoothly. I'm going to give you a round of applause. So as Doug is a wealth of knowledge for us, if there's ever information that you need, Cuivre.com is a great resource for information locally. And our national organization, NRECA, is cooperative.com, and so they also have a wealth of information, and those are the facts. So you're not getting it from here, there, and everywhere. You're getting it straight from the horse's mouth. So if you want the facts, so information, we have it everywhere, but those are two resources where you know that what you're reading are the facts at this moment in time. So moving on, I'd like to, again, thank the nominating committee. You were thanked while you were gone. But thank you guys for all the time for preparing for today and serving as our election officials. We really appreciate it. Now I'd like to invite Courtney Fletcher back to the podium to report the election results.
Thank you. The following results have been certified. For Lincoln County District 3, John Waddell, 759 votes. Mike Dicken, 387 votes. Kim Daniger, 543 votes. For Warren County District 2, Caleb Logsdon, 470 votes. Steve Coffey, 1,165 votes. For St. Charles County District 1, Mark Schulte, 1,098 votes. Dennis J. Sargent Jr., 573 votes. For St. Charles County District 3, Michael DeWitt, 149 votes. Brad White, 132 votes. Nick Ajos, 72 votes. Tamika J. Cole, 359 votes. Timothy Welker, 206 votes. And Dale Anderson, 762 votes. At this point, we certify that John Waddell, Steve Coffey, Mark Schulte, and Dale Anderson were duly elected as directors to hold office for a term of 3 years each until their successors shall be elected and qualified. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. All right, well, congratulations to those who've been elected to our board of directors. Thank you for your commitment to Cuivre River. We appreciate it. Looking at the agenda, is there any new or unfinished business to be discussed? If not, I'd like to thank each of you for being part of this year's annual meeting, and if there's no further business to discuss, I declare the 2024 annual meeting of Cuivre River Electric Cooperative adjourned. Thank you.